office, and I thought, what better spot to talk about March's new setup than amongst the beautiful Monstera plants. I love these plants so much. I can't believe that they actually have big enough ones to actually put in my office, the size that I've always dreamed of. And I kept trying to do for like, I think 2 summers in a row now, and they kept dying on me. I think I've gone through like 3 or 4 of these plants by now. Even Trisha wasn't able to revive my last one. But anyway, so today we are doing an extremely new type of setup for March, because I realized, even though I love how February's turned out, I was creating way too many pages for my setups for the months, especially since my main focus is producing and editing the videos for the Leaf Factor channel now, and I just need my bullet journal to be able to accommodate that, because my super artsy bullet journaling days will have to be on hold until I'm out of debt and I have more time in my day again. Until then, I really like how I was able to redo March to be more streamlined, easier, but still just as pleasing and aesthetic. So I hope you guys enjoy, and maybe get some own inspo for yours if you're feeling like your bullet journal is starting to slow you down as well. So yeah, enjoy! Alrighty, so back to cover page. I actually, as per usual, I did this the very last, so I did everything first. But I wanted to pick something incredibly simple, and I wasn't really sure at first what I was going to do for March, because the past few years it's been pretty consistently doing some kind of green theme, even though, like, from my thought process, it's just been Slytherin and then 2 years of pandas, because my first attempt at pandas wasn't great, and then I really wanted to redo it and fix it. I ended up having a lot of sticker sheets left of my little black cats and some washi tape that was green that had all plants on top of it. So I was like, okay, we'll just mix black cats with green, and then it still goes with the March green aesthetic. I thought at first like that, it's not quite like Japan thing, but I didn't really know what else to do that was green related that could also be related to Japan, until when I showed this finished cover page to someone very special to me. He said that, well, he said in kind of like a half thing, it was like, oh, you must have picked that because of your plant you had to leave behind in Japan, right? And I'm like, huh. That's actually a pretty good point. I had this beautiful Monstera, and my thing for the past few years when I got really into plants is that I kept seeing YouTubers that I follow have the most beautiful Monstera plants. And my sister had one, and then I convinced my best friend to get one because it was just like so pretty. And I kept getting like smaller planted ones from Greenland by my house because that's all I could afford, because when they're big like that, they can get up to like $50 to like $100. So they're pretty pricey tropical plant. But I thought, you know what? I'll just buy a small one. It's only $20. I'll be able to grow it to make it big, and it'll eventually be big. And I've gone through 3 of them, and they kept dying on me. That is until I was actually in Japan in a tropical environment, and my Monstera flourished in my share house room, and I loved that thing. And when it grew to the biggest it could before I ended up having to move home, it made my room just so much better. Especially when it like reflected in the full-length mirror I had, and I was like, oh my god, I know exactly what I want to do to my office when I redesign it. So having the Monstera plant is my little callback to my share house by little coinky-dink accident. So that's why I did that. And I really liked how the Monstera leaves turned out in this. I still think the original drawing is better, but man, these cats, they caused me so much grief. So much grief. Cats are simple to draw, but for some reason I could not make their heads look okay and like rounded properly. So it took me a while to finally get to the point where I'm at, but yeah, it was a bit more frustrating. I used to have trouble with bunnies like that too, but I'm gonna just have to do more practice because like clearly it's still a struggle. So for the opposite side though, I didn't really feel like doing another quote because I felt like I was starting to run out of quotes to do. So I thought I'd try what Amanda Rachel Lee did on her 2021 bullet journal setup for March, which coincidentally was also a plant theme. She did a much different type of plant theme though. She did more doodles and I did more like stickers after the first page, but hers was a big inspiration for this one as well. And I liked how her mini calendar looked because I realized that this month I'm gonna try not having like a 2-page spread for my schedule page because I use my Google Calendar so much that I really don't
need it, and I end up not using it, especially since my work hours at my full-time job have been changing so crazily. So I thought, you know what, let's give the tiny calendar a shot and only put in the things that aren't full-time work related. That's only events related / content related that I know I'm going to need to keep up with, because coming back from Japan, I realized I only want my bullet journal to be related to content work, not throwing everything in there. So now I have a separate workbook for my full-time job, which, that might sound a bit odd just because, the bullet journal should have everything in it. But after having my book stolen, I'd rather just keep my bullet journal being my content and personal career goals book. So, next page. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So, this is where we go completely different from what you've seen anything on my channel before. I was realizing that having my setups be so many different pages, now that I'm trying to really focus on the Leaf Factor channel, was just becoming a huge waste of time and energy. And I really need to figure out how can I still use my bullet journal, but cut down the time basically in half. And from finding this channel called Julian Doodles, she does great, really short bullet journal setups. She still does pretty drawing heavy things because she's more of an artist than I am, quite frankly. But she makes her own stickers, so it makes it faster for herself. And, so I took that inspo and used it for my own sticker sheets and tried to draw as little as possible. So I'm still going to draw elaborate drawings for my cover page because I do genuinely enjoy that. But for these next pages, I realize my content checklist and my adulting tasks, bullet journaling has helped me so much that I don't need full separate pages for those to-do lists anymore. Like, they're so much shorter. They involve a little bit more grunt work for each task, but I don't have a bunch of little tasks to do anymore. It's just helped me really knock those down. So this was the sticker sheet that I was talking about. I used it a bit for my October setup when I was in Japan because I just did a basic Halloween theme, and black cats are very related to Halloween. And I basically finished the sticker sheet by the time I was done all the weekly spreads. But anyway, so going back to knocking these down, I realized too with my habit trackers, especially the content ones, until I'm more caught up with the videos, I actually don't have much Instagram content to catch up on. So I dropped some of those and kept it really just with the YouTube trackers, and then the big tall one with my staying healthy and keeping my body basically like a moving machine as much as possible. But I realized that I'm using the brain dump page more than I ever have before in the past couple of months. The reason for this, at least lately, is because I'm really trying to do more script work with the Leaf Factor videos. I've realized after doing the moving to Japan vlog that when I put a little bit extra, okay, not a little bit, it's a lot extra effort, but that's just because I think I'm just learning how to script, and I have to do so many drafts. By the time I come to the final draft, I've done at least 3 to 4 drafts to get to the final one. So I think I just repeated myself a little bit there, probably. But anyway, so I end up using my brain dump for a lot of quick scripts, if it's like a quick little voiceover. But then later on, after my weekly spreads, I just leave the book as blank as possible until the next month rolls around to just script as much as I need to. So the brain dump is a good catch-all space, and it's been a godsend. I mean, when I was in Japan too, I was using the brain dump a lot, not just for the scripting, but for anything related to school. And then I had to remember because all of a sudden I had to adult, and I didn't have my parents helping me with, typical adulting things like, getting food or groceries and that kind of stuff. So moving on to our second last weekly spread. So typically I end these videos with one weekly spread, but because I'm trying to cut down time on bullet journaling but still make it aesthetic and pretty, we are doing 2 weekly spreads this month. I probably won't show the last one for April just because I'm going to be sticking with that method for a while, at least until I eventually have more time in my everyday life to expand on it. But with February's having the Dutch door thing for every single week of the month, it was great for that month because I didn't have to spend the extra time drawing out like more drawing heavy weekly spreads. So I got more done, especially since it's like 2 big videos I was trying to get done in February. So far, I've only been able to get like one of them done, and the second one, it's over 2.5 hours of wedding footage. Like I'm struggling a bit with that one right now, but it helped a lot to save time. But it also made me realize that I really missed having some fun drawing heavier weekly spreads. So that's why this first weekly spread is a bit more on that side and gives me a bit more room to write out my to-do list for the days. I figured moving forward, I could continue having this kind of spread and then the rest of the month's weeks being the quick flippity-doo one. So you'll see that in a moment. But this one is specifically taken from Amanda Rach Lee's March 2021 setup. I loved the space that it left for like the little events at the very top. The washi tape be cut in half with an X-Acto knife. I did not realize you could do that until I rewatched that video. I mean, I watched it when it first came out, but like clearly I forgot about it. And I decided to try it out for myself for the first time, and it worked beautifully. And it just made my spread elevated so much more than just using a regular colored Tombow. So I think I'm going to continue this kind of trend for a little bit, at least until I get tired of it, because it just added so much. And I have all this beautiful washi tape that I can do this with multiple themes, I'm sure. So that'll hopefully, get rid of some as well, because I really decluttered my whole scrapbooking and bullet journaling area the past 2 months. And mostly because I'm redesigning my whole office. Like, coming back from Japan made me realize that I don't want to fall back into the old ways I was doing prior to Japan, because that old ways, it was helping in certain aspects of my life, but with my YouTube goals, it was not helping. So I want this to just be an area that is like aesthetic, inspires me, and also relaxes me for this stuff. Where was I going with this? Right, I decluttered the whole thing. I've already redesigned my IKEA shelf and decluttered all of my scrapbook stuff. Most of it's going to my parents, friends, kids' school. Yeah, I think I got that right. She's a teacher, and I've been giving her, every time I declutter my stuff, I've been giving her more and more things, and she says she still has her kids using some of the stuff I've given because I just gave so much. But that's what happens typically with me with a new hobby. I usually go like really hard the first few years, and then all of a sudden I'm not using most of it. So now that I know what my aesthetic is for bullet journaling and scrapbooking, it was really easy to declutter and feel like this is my final decluttering. So this is the Dutch door thing that I was referring to. Since I already kind of explained why I decided to do this and also where the inspiration was from, to read just in case I didn't say it earlier and I thought I did, it was from Julian Doodles as well. She does these a lot, she said, in her January setup, and I really liked how it looks. So give it a go. Love how it looks way more than the Dutch door I attempted in February. So there's not much else to say about it than just like watching what I'm doing, so I'll just let the voiceover chill for the rest of the video. Actually, one little thing I will mention about this is that X-Acto knife trick that I mentioned earlier, it really helped with being able to color up the tabs on each weekly page. And I loved that just how the washi tape looked as a tab instead of just using Tombows. It's just such a neat little trick, but make sure you put something underneath if you are doing that trick so that you can avoid accidentally ripping open your pages. Because that's the one part that I was really paranoid about. But once you get the hang of it, it just elevates the book so much, and I just love it. I'm just really excited to use March setup now. I think I found my new layouts. Alright, so there is my March 2023 bullet journal setup. Amazingly short and quick, but in the absolute best way possible. And really this month taught me that if you're feeling like bullet journaling is distracting you or taking time away from the goals that you actually want to accomplish, you can change the system to make it more functional for your life. That's the beauty of it, like it can form with you and it should never be working against you. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed the new version of my bullet journals yet to come. I really like this new way of setting up. It was super fast and honestly way faster than I thought it was going to be. I am in a Greenland garden center. I am not alone right now. Let me know if you like this setup better than like the previous layouts that I've been doing. Not necessarily like aesthetic wise, because I know not everyone's like as into plants as I am, but for like the design wise. And yeah, let me know if you took some ideas away from this as well, and I will see you guys for next week actually, because we are moving into a new book for the second half of the year, which a lot of bullet journaling videos this coming month in March. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and I will see you next Scrappy Wednesday.